What's up, Shinners, and welcome back to the Shindig podcast. My name's Matt Pengelly. Sadly, my sidekick isn't here again today. He's still off gallivanting, hunting for zebra in South Africa somewhere. But on today's show, we have some royalty of the royal family, to be exact. We'll get straight to Mr. King and Queen of Radical Bikes, because today's episode is all about Radical Bikes, my second home, my favourite place. We have Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, Tom and Molly Mitchell. How the devil are you? Oh, don't tell me you've frozen just as I introduced you there. Are you back now?
Yeah,
we're here.
Okay, well, we'll put it down to your internet's connection is unstable. That's exactly what I just got a message, so it might jump in and out. Either or. It's technology. Don't worry. But anyway, guys, how are you doing? Where are you in the world right now?
We're still in Chelmsford. Knockdown number 2. So we're in Chelmsford, still close to Radical Bikes, waiting out the storm, getting ready for spring.
I mean, that's where we are. That's what we're all waiting for, really. So we'll go into a little bit. First of all, people who don't know you, because there will be some listeners who probably don't have a clue. Tom and Molly now pretty much run Radical Bikes right now, I would say. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, keeping it afloat.
Yeah,
keeping it there. Radical Bikes is the UK's. It was probably the official UK's first trials park. One of the best. There's a few out there now. It used to be. You've got quite a few different places to ride.
Yep.
And it's probably how many years old now? You have to remind me. I want to say 11.
12.
12 this
so
year. This year it'll be 12.
It's been 12 years as Radical Bikes, our bike park. You can go and ride, and then it's been about 15 years a place where you could ride. The Essex Bike Trail Club were with us for about 3 years before we turned it into a full-on pay-and-play bike park.
Yeah, and you've also got the ability to help people out mechanically as well, and offer them parts and things like that. So it's not just a place for people to go and ride. They can actually get mechanical support, should I say, too, as well. Now, Tom, you are also a rider. I'm going to say Molly is also a rider, in the sense that, yeah, you have a trials bike, but you're pretty good on a horse, I've been told.
I was. Apparently, when you hit like 16, you naturally turn into a 90-year-old woman, and your back just cripples. So that was relatively short-lived, but
there is history of riding from you both. That's what I'm getting at. But Tom, yourself, you haven't always been a trials rider. And for those who don't know, Tom rides a trials bike with no brakes on it. Yeah, you heard it right there.
By some people.
But you've always been, at Rad from day one as part of that kind of journey. Before then, I sort of knew you as a BMXer. That's what I remember. So I'll go into how we sort of met. I remember going to Radical Bikes, finding out it's like, yeah, it was the best place to ride in the country at the time. It must have been back in 2009, I want to say. And you were a BMXer, so not into trials. At what point did you actually, because I don't know this answer, what point did you delve into the seatless world?
So I rode trials before anything else. My first exposure to a bike that wasn't just a normal bike was a trials bike. Me and my brother both did work experience in a local bike shop, and there was a picture of someone on their back wheel on a bike with no seat. I had not very much interest in bicycles. We would go into the woods, and I would actually run on my feet and chase Matt around the woods because I wasn't really fussed about bikes. Like a dog. Upright, two-legged, non-furry dog. That's what I did. And then Matt started riding bike trials with the Essex Bike Trail Club, and then I quickly joined on. We rode trials for about maybe 3 years. And then Radical Bikes became an idea that we had a parcel of land that was too much for just me and my brother. We wanted to give it to the Essex Bike Trail Club as well, and then turn it into a public park to ride. So I probably rode trials for about 3 years with breaks, purely competition trials. So like Canada Heights, Penshurst, Hookwoods, Thriftwood, Barrow Farm being Radical Bike. And then I got quite quickly bored of riding trials, not due to I was too good or anything, but the adrenaline of riding dirt jumps sort of took over. And then I did the dirt jump bike journey on a 24-inch jump bike for about 2 years, rode BMX for about 6 years, and then I've now recently started riding trials again with no brakes for the last 3 years.
Yeah, so it's you would have got to switch things up, you know. I always find that otherwise you've got to keep things that much interesting. That kind of level of I mean I only know because watching you ride, it's a little bit mental, and I'm sure Molly can relate to that too, being like, I don't understand what goes on. You know, you can see how we ride, but most of us still don't quite comprehend in terms of your style.
Definitely.
And without Tom, there would sorry, what was I going to say? What I meant to say was, behind every man is a woman rolling his eyes. Behind every good man is a woman rolling her eyes. Someone said that to me recently, and it really stuck, reminding me of you two, because there's so much when I'm lucky to have spent quite a bit of time being so close, being up at Radical Bikes. Just the way that your dynamic works as a couple, it's like those sort of couple goals. I have to say, guys, it is very encouraging, and I love the way that Molly has that side over you a little bit, Tom. Do you know what I mean? And she's rolling her eyes, but she's
he knows what's going on.
I have to keep everything in check and
do you
play.
Do you still have a trials bike, Molly? Because I know,
I do.
You've always had one.
I do, and funny enough, last year Tom had a little play on it, because obviously it has brakes because I am sane, and he had a little play on it when your bike was apart or something broken, whatever. Yeah. And then he said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to take your bike to work, and I'm going to like upgrade your brakes, and I'm going to put some new bits on it, and blah 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 blah." And obviously, I knew in the back of my head the whole reason he was doing that was because he'd just got on it and had a play. And
I'm waiting for that day. I like to think that one day, whoever decides to deal with me, I'll be like, "Don't you want a trials bike?" "No, I won't ride it." Yeah, you do. My point being, it will just be another excuse to have another trials bike.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, oh look, we'll put it on the wall, babe. Look, it will look really good over there. So, I hope to one day that I'll get to do the same sort of thing and use that to my advantage.
Yeah.
One thing I'm sure everyone would want to know, what's been going on at Radical Bikes last year then? What have you been up to? I know there's been lots of changes. I do know, but people listening might not. Do you want to go into a little bit about what you did last year, and then we'll maybe talk about where it might be going?
So we had planned probably for the last 2 winters to completely reshape the bike park. Things how we had planned out the overall layout worked really well 9, 10, 11 years ago when we started, 12 years ago when we started. When we started, it was kind of we'll put that there, like we'll have dirt jumps there, or we'll have something there. Whereas now we know so much more. There's specific things. There's one certain ramp that gets ridden the most, but what we didn't realise was where the sun comes up. So you can have a great session in the morning, but when you ride in the afternoon, the sun's in your eyes.
Yeah.
Ramp's basically unrideable. So we've changed lots of things around. We sort of had a blank piece of paper and was like, right, really big change. What would you do? And specifically with the trials bike stuff, rather than just get a tractor, lift up one thing, put it somewhere else, I've wanted to completely change everything to make it fresh for myself. And obviously that benefits everybody else anyway. The same as the dirt jumpers. We have predominantly a dirt jump based venue, although all the trials riders will see it when it's really sunny, full of upwards of 100 trials riders. They'll think it's really a trial. But the bread and butter, Saturday to Sunday, 10 till 6, is dirt jump riders. So we always spend the large portion of winter digging flat out, and there's about 9 of us that dig consistently most evenings and weekends through the winter, and we wouldn't have a quarter of what we've got without the dig crew that build there, and they know who they are, and they get thanked every time by me and Mole. On a Sunday, Mole makes countless runs of coffee and bakes biscuits and cookies and.
Well, I attempt.
Yeah, she tries to. No, you do keep us in check, looking after us. I have to say, it is an important role. But those who aren't even sure, that they have also a foam pit there, which you're saying predominantly for jump riders, which anyone can ride. It doesn't matter. You can ride it. Anyone. I wanted to ask when was that foam pit actually put in? Because I think somewhere I might have had a photo of us somewhere. I was like, do you remember when that was put there?
We opened, I think, 5 or 6 years. Okay. So I'd probably say it's been there for probably 7 years. The foam pit was a really big thing that my mum basically did most of the paperwork stuff for that. So Radical Bike is a community interest company, so you can get business rate relief and you can apply for grants. So my mum had applied for a grant for a foam pit to basically get all the steel, get the cubes, get the ramp built. Yeah. And then mum sort of come up and gone, we're going to have a foam pit. And this was a dream. Like,
of course, yeah.
You've got one you've got one at Corby in Northamptonshire, and you've got one at the track in Cornwall in Portreath. So to have, look, we are the biggest and closest foam pit to London, being the capital of the UK. Yeah. And we knew that the bike park would completely change when we got this feature, and it put us on the map. And a lot of the locals thought, they'll never get a foam pit. It won't happen. Like, pipe dream.
Screaming.
And then and we got it. And like, we've had the world freestyle mountain bike champion, Sam Pilgrim. He has ridden at Rad countless times. Yeah. Jack at Rad, and like even Mark Fabian, who's the unicycle trials world champion, he's ridden the foam pit on his unicycle. Something I wouldn't ever think to have happened.
Yeah, if you put that in a sentence, it doesn't make any sense. How are you even supposed to kind of? How does that really work? But
yeah, I mean, you've probably seen it. You've probably yeah. Go on.
No, I was saying it's a huge and major important part to the scene. You know, because like you just said, it just put it on the map. There are other riders, Tom Eisted. We grew up together. I've known him. We went to school together, and he's someone who absolutely loves it. And it wasn't until I saw him there, like, oh, dude, do you know Radical Bike? He's like, yeah, mate, I love it. I was like, oh man, like everybody, why did we not know this? So it's just bringing all disciplines together. You go to the street. Yeah, that's my point. You go to the street, and that's fine. We can have trials riders all there, hang out. But Radical Bikes is that kind of hub for all of those disciplines. That's great. You've got the dirt jumpers over there. BMX is a half pipe they can mess about on. Resi ramp as well, right? That's a really important thing. It's just that area, or not many places in our country, if anywhere actually, if I think about it, where you'll find every rider in the same place. Just like I never really would have made friends with, say, Cam. He's a dirt jumper, but because he's there and we're all riding there, it's like we're making friends with other disciplines, and I think that's just really important. So,
I think the only place that has, BMX, MTB, and trials facilities in one sort of pit.
Yeah,
over here anyway.
Yeah, I think the blocks that Rich Pearson does, where you've got Mount Hawk. I know they've got a bit of a dirt spot, and they've got their trial section. That's what they've done. But Radical Bikes will never be a dirt jump venue or a trials venue or a unicycle venue. It will be a place where you can come and ride. And like, we do things with archery. Like, we've done stuff like that before. Like, we've done team building exercises for schools, and
we had National Geographic.
We had National Geographic. We had a Japanese. People probably won't know this, but we had Joe Ma approached us about 9 years ago and said, a Japanese TV program have found me and they want to film with us for the day. So we came to Rad. These Japanese guys got out of a cab and Joe Ma turned up. They put this really funky energy drink on the floor. He jumped off a pallet, crushed the can, They got the shot and they left. They were in the field for about 25 minutes. They'd flown from Japan to film the clip.
That just says it all, because they're like, oh, I don't know anywhere that's like that until I thought about it. Yeah, might be Mount Hawk would be the closest, but even yet that's still sort of unofficial yet, and it's pretty far. Not many people have even ridden there. So of all you've heard it here first, folks. You know, any day, any time that it's open, just go there. Even if you've just got one wheel, like you said, you can ride the foam pit on a unicycle.
Yeah,
there is no excuse. I mean, I think we definitely have the most international riders come from the unicycling, for sure. I mean, when we have the unicycling events, they are amazing, absolutely amazing. One of my favourite events, you know, through the year, and they travel from all over the show. And I know that the first unicycle event we had a guy ride his unicycle from Camden all the way to Rad. He had no stops. There was no get in the car and do a journey. He rode his unicycle like motorway.
I know how that, because I'm about few miles from Camden, maybe 15-20 minutes to drive. So for me to drive from my house to Rad is at least 45 minutes, maybe 40. And this guy's did it on one wheel. Right?
He wasn't, to be clear. He was French. He'd come from France to Camden, and we were all sitting around a bonfire on the first night, having a few beers and just getting to know the people, because it was our first time being exposed to unicycles. Yeah. And this head talk came along the road at about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. We were absolutely speechless, didn't we? We gave him a load of beer. We gave him a free T-shirt, some stickers. The commitment. This person had come to our little 3-acre square of greens, come and ride. It gives us a lot of gratification that people are willing to make such a massive journey to come and play in our field.
Yeah, and it's one of those places that definitely feels worth it, regardless of that. My first ever trip to it was, I think, the first ever Radfest, and you could see how much Jack Meek put into it, phoning people personally, like, please come, I know it's really far, you know, go on. And because of that, it, like, on my personal level, shaped my life to some aspect, because one of the reasons of me living here is because of where you guys are. It sounds mental to say that, but I was like, hang on a minute, I'm going to live 1 hour from Radical Bikes, and I'm biased, but it was like the best place to ride in the country. And then me having come here 5 or 6 years on, left all my friends in the southwest. I was like, where are my friends? Well, guess what? They're in Essex. Yeah. So, mate, I just can't believe how much Rad has impacted so many other people's lives. I know that it's had mine. I'm sure anyone can comment if you've had Tom or Molly help you out, or it's impacted you in any way. I'm sure they would want to hear that for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Speaking of all of the Radfests, I've actually only missed 2, which was 2014 and 15, I believe. I was in America. But which ones are your favourites? Each of you might be different. This is a difficult question now, I would say. Or something that you remember. Give us your best or your most memorable Radfest.
You know what? I think my one was it
2016.
I think it was 2016.
Green T-shirt.
And
Orange Barrow, you painting with the green. You and that.
No, I think that was 2015. Not sure. 2015 or 2016. I'm not 100%. Yeah. But one of them, I obviously I'd either only been with Rad a month or a year, depending on what the year was. But I'm sure it was 20.
Your first Radfest.
2015.
Your very first Radfest, because I was like, that wasn't 2016. Was that the IC Green year?
No.
So IC Green.
We'll talk about that in a minute, so the listeners have some context. But go on.
Right, 2015, my first Radfest, and I think it was 2016. Sorry. What was my first Radfest?
Yeah, because I feel like I was there at your first one, and I missed 14 and 15.
Right, no, 2015 my first one.
Okay.
But we only just got together in the June, so it was literally a month later was Radfest. 2016, we were rammed and ended up running out of wristbands. I think we had like 400 people, and there was something about it. It was just the family side of Rad, I think, really showed through in the 2016 one. I can remember specifically throwing water over Dan Wheeler in a marquee.
At the end,
playing beer pong, and who got thrown in the foam pit?
Rory Hooper.
He got taped up as well, didn't he? Yeah, see,
foam pit.
I do remember 16, I think it must have been 16 very well, because it was the first one back for me, and it was the first time I was actually living in the area. So much so, I remember finishing work on a Friday, driving to Rad, being like, oh my God, I'd have to drive 5 hours. So this is 45 minutes up the road.
That's definitely my favourite. I think it just showed what the place was about in 3 days, you know, but it felt like it went on for ages, which is amazing.
Big old family get-togethers. That's what they feel like, aren't they? Yeah, big Thanksgiving time, because there's also rivalry in trials, just like there is with family. So it all gets heated and exciting at the same time. What about you, Tom? Any Radfests that really stick?
I tell you what, if every Radfest goes by like that for me, it's just, I think I believe that people realise how much work it takes to run something like that, and every year the more admin side, like getting the wristband through and booking the toilets and booking the showers and booking the caterers and giving them numbers and doing all of that side, I don't tend to. That tended to be a Molly side thing that she'd taken from my mum. The more physical graft that my dad would do, I would do, and it's quite a stressful thing. Like, there was one day, I think it was a couple of days before Radfest, I literally had my phone torch and a paintbrush, and Callum feeding me McDonald's at about 12:30 at night, because I'm like, oh, let me just finish this bit of painting. And the year, I think it was 2019 was the blue year, wasn't it? The year when the field was blue.
So for the 10-year anniversary.
Yes, and I remember.
That was when we were working like literally through the night, and Callum, God bless him, has always been the deliverer of food for us.
McDonald's.
Yeah, shout out to Callum Sherwood there. He's been named a few times.
Yeah, he is one of the original dirt jumper dig crew that kind of moved on to trials and is doing a bit of both now. Yeah, he is such a vital ingredient of the team, and he's just so nice. He's just such a nice person.
I'm glad he came up, because I've got it down here written down. It just says Callum Sherwood, the man. He is a part. I've got to give him a shout out, because he's a big part of Radical Bikes. If those of you who don't know him, like Tom just said, big dirt jumper, moved into the trials world as well. He likes to think he's leaving trials. He's not. He'll soon. He'll get back on it. No, of course he hasn't. He'll get. As soon as he gets back on a trials bike and does some tricks, but we've got to keep ourselves busy.
I think we can rely on Cal for a lot, and I mean that's literally down to the point of we're at work or something. It's like, Cal, I'm running behind. I need you to go and do the dogs, and he's like, yeah, cool, sweet. Like, what do you want from the shop? Have you got dinner? Like, what are we? He's absolutely vital.
He's a good lad. I think best Radfest. I think every year that one happens, that then becomes my favourite year, because it's known as, because people know Radfest, and you can type in Radfest on YouTube and you can watch the first one that like Jack had a lot of influence in. Then you can keep going. I think they get better and better and better. I think my best sort of Radfest moment is one that nobody shares other than me, Molly, and Joe Simpkins. After Radfest is done and there's about a month of it's finished, let's plan the next one sort of thing, I'll get a random text from Joe Simpkins, who films the video, who's one of the diggers, and he'll say, it's done. And that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
He'll come over, he'll bring his computer, he sets it up in the lounge, and we sit and watch the video probably twice over, and I just sit there and cry, because it is literally the best thing every year. That's all I want. If I could just do Radfest one a year, until I die, I'll be so happy.
I think it can get quite overwhelming, you know, like the build up to it, and then when you're in it, and obviously we're working and whatnot, as are Mick and Maria and all the boys, you get sort of sucked up in it, and you don't. Sometimes you need to sit back and enjoy it a little bit, but you know, some years it does go really fast.
Of course.
So you get to the end and you're like, now I just need to see the video. I need to see what actually happened.
You're responsible there. So I get that it can be difficult to really just, you know, like let loose. Do you know what I mean? And really just like let go of everything because you're responsible. You need to make sure things are happening and it's going the ways that it should be. Just to be clear to everybody else, this is not Tom and Molly's job. This is not their full-time job. Just I was like, they actually work full-time and then have to do this in their spare time, which is, you know, can be tough. Tom, some people already know what you do. You're the first guest to come on the show twice.
Yay!
Hey, there you go. Keeping Trials Addict, keeping it going. You know, as it is to try and Molly, you have a day job too. Do you want to let some of them know what you do?
So I have a couple. I've never really stuck myself on one job. I do a bit of cleaning in the week, you know, keep myself active. Yeah. And I work at a jeweller's in Chelmsford. So my stepdad Graham, love him, as a lot of people have probably met in the field. Yeah. Yeah. He is a jeweller, a very talented one as well. If anyone needs any engagement rings made, then please
get at Mole. Speaking of engagement rings, actually,
go on.
You just said it then. What I put down here, because you're the first couple that's been on the show, so thank you very much. One I like to say, I wasn't quite there for the beginning, but I've definitely seen you grow together. Over the years, so much so, absolute pleasure of having to be the DJ of your wedding. Yeah. That was a highlight of that year. Was it 2019? I want to say
2019. Yeah, if it was 2020, it wouldn't have been happening.
Yeah.
Point being, so did you know what you were getting yourself into, Molly, when you sort of met Tom? Because you, like you said, you're straight into Radfest, straight on the responsibility side of things. Start as you mean to go on. I just want to know a little bit about how you guys actually met and, you know, how it got to where we are now.
Yeah. So, funny enough, we actually met at Radical Bikes at Radfest 2014. I had no idea who he was. I went with other people. Turned up at this random field that I'd driven past all my life and seen people bouncing around on logs, because all I could remember was a section in the corner of the field that I'd look at and think, what am I doing? Never took any notice. And then I can remember turning up at this field for this festival and seeing Tom sat on a deck chair or a plastic chair on top of one of the metal containers in the trials section, watching Matty Turner's video preview. It was up on like a projector, and all I thought was, oh my God, what an arsehole. He thinks he's the king. That's all I thought. I just thought, look at him.
I can already see you saying that to them lot too, Molly. Just like, these people, really?
I just looked at him and I thought, who the hell does he think he is? You know, just sat out there on his own. It was like running everyone, and obviously I had no idea who Tom was at this point. And then we didn't speak or anything, you know. And then we sort of caught back up in different circumstances.
So you saw him again. There was a different, like, you parted ways, but nothing, you know, definitely like, kind of. There wasn't love at first sight, put it that way. She saw Tom like, who the is that? Like, really?
And then, the second time that we met, it was like, oh, right, that's you. And then I think after our first meeting, you messaged me saying, here's my number, now put it to good use.
Yeah,
I know that line, because that's what you said that at the wedding. I remember you being like, here's my number, put it to good use. What that's telling me, though, is Like I hear it from my mum and some other people be like, mate, you're never going to go and meet anyone if you're at a trials park riding your bike doing things. I've just been proved wrong. That's what I'm saying. People are like, Matt, you can't go on wasting your weekends out on a bike park where it's just full of lads riding their bikes. I'm like, excuse me, mate. There's evidence over here that gets you married.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
living proof.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just even more so that to put radical bikes on a pedestal right there, steering people's lives right now. And I'm hoping that soon, as you can see, Molly's wearing a Radical Bikes t-shirt. And Tom's got a hat on, the merch. You would be able to see mine. Unfortunately, I have to do this. I don't know if Tom knows why, but I've got to turn around, something like that.
The person who printed the t-shirts didn't know what they were doing.
It's still Radical Bikes on it, so that's fine. I'm going to
they
fire
got-
up some photos of you guys now. I did a little bit of digging, nothing too much. So earlier on, we spoke about what we know as the icy green. Now, just to put some context to the listeners, what year was it? 2016. I want to say 16 or 17. No,
It was
18.
10-year
No,
10-year anniversary.
The
19.
last
19. Oh God, time is going. Oh wow, yeah, it's 21.
Rabbit.
We're on 21 right now. So the icy green, it refers to Tom Mitchell absolutely face planting the ground so hard that I think his eye socket or his retina hit the grass so hard that all he saw was green. That's what he was telling us. He's like, all I can see is green. Now you have to correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is the damage from it.
Yeah, that's it. There you
Where's
go.
this picture? Where am I? There it is.
But
I was hoping so that's right. That is the
icy
face
green.
damage.
But that nose was already broken. That
Yeah.
he's always had a broken nose since I've known him. So it looks a lot worse because it looks like his nose is really on the wonk, but that is normal.
Was an
Yeah.
opportunity to straighten it out, because I've heard that's a thing. If you break it a second time, you're meant to just whack it in place.
Yeah, I did try and persuade him to let me have a little knock, but no way.
Didn't happen.
I don't. Is there a footage of that somewhere? I'm not really sure. I can't remember.
So-
No. Well,
What
basically,
happened was-
there. If you watch the 2019 Radfest video, I think Toast Bikes there put that one together. There is a clip of what happened to Tom's bike. His fork snapped, basically, hit the deck really hard, snapped his forks, and then his face on the ground really hard. So definitely wanted to go and look for, but mate, I'll never forget that. And as we say, that hashtag is a thing. I see green.
Well, we actually we have Chris Jackson through the summer a lot. Love him, little baby.
Yeah, shout out to the Shindig podcast ambassador, Mr. Chris Jackson.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, he is. He's our boy,
Yeah.
and we have him a lot through summer. You know, he sleeps on the sofa as much as he physically can.
Yeah.
Tries to crawl into bed every night, but you know, we sort of draw a line there.
The thruple that you are.
And so Tom was adamant he could go to work the next day. So I was like, fine, whatever. I can't stop you physically.
Yeah.
And me and Chris had the whole next day off. So I said to Chris, like, you know, is it too soon to make him a cake that says I see green on it? And we were like, fuck it, let's do it. So me and Chris spent the next day after Radfest, not cleaning up or anything, literally making Tom a cake just to write on it, I see green.
You baked a cake to just add the hashtag. I think I remember seeing a picture of that somewhere. It definitely exists, right? Yeah, it exists out there somewhere. Where's this other great one I had? Now this one I love. You can give me some more context. It's both of you. What's going on?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I can't see it because you can see it though. Give me a second. There we are. Right. Both of you got bikes, matching attire. Looks a bit like a sponsor plug. Very old picture. Look at little Tom's baby face there. Hey?
This would have been me and Mo probably wouldn't have been together that long. What we where this picture sort of have come from was we were starting to work with Chelmsford City Council and do a lead mountain bike ride through the wood and do coffee for a ladies group. So a ladies group through Chelmsford City Council approached us and said, we want to try and get women out there, get them exercising and get them muddy. They don't all just want to do walking, netball and coffee circles. So we thought, why not? We spoke to More Large and me and my dad, and we picked out 2 polygons from their range, and we thought, right, let's try and keep doing this successfully. Yeah. We met people, we did some good exercise.
So that was called This Girl Can, if anyone's interested.
That was it.
They're still running. We aren't doing rides with them at the minute, obviously, as well as the pandemic and whatnot. But they do quite a lot for women that want to get out. And like I said, at the minute with COVID interruptions, I don't know what they'd be doing, but if anyone was interested in that, then they are around.
Mm-hmm. And I hope to see, hopefully some more of that. I know that when it reopens, eventually, when it reopens, I know there'll be lots of other opportunities for people to get involved. The one thing I believe that we will see in the field in the next few years is a lot of road cyclists. We've had everyone in that field, but I have a feeling in the next few years we'll be bringing in the road cyclists, even as just spectators, to come and grab their coffee, but they'll be in there. Yeah. They'll be in there, which, let me just see if I've got another photo here, and then I want us to quickly talk about 2021 and what we're going to do this year. There's a good, this one I just thought, because it's so old, and you guys just look, Tom just looks too cute in it.
Oh my God. That is the first ever picture of me and Tom, and I look absolutely ecstatic.
Gorgeous.
I thought it was, because I was going through being like, so before this there's none of you, and I thought this might be the point here when they had no idea that they'd have to deal with each other for the rest of their lives.
No.
So for context for this picture,
go on.
Me and Mo had started chatting, and this was super early in the year, absolutely freezing. And kind of the first day I took Mo to go and watch banger racing. So we went to Essex Arena to go and watch cars race around and smash into each other, and
with loads of what were just Tom's friends originally, obviously all mine now. But the night before this, I'd got really drunk and basically text Tom and said, you fancy coming and pick me up? Like, I'm smashed.
I'm ready for you. Yeah. I want to see you, please.
He replied like, yeah, that's fine. Where are you? I told him where I was. And then the next message I got was, I'm outside. And I thought, shit. Right. He's actually, all right, fine. Let's go for it.
No, that's what I mean. He's like, this one does as he's told. This one does as I tell him to. I just thought it was a really cute image of you guys, and I know that you've grown with Radical Bikes, and being our first couple to get on, I thought it was a nice little gesture of you. Your first image together. Tom looks so much younger than you there, though. He
always looked about 12. Bit strange that.
Mate, yeah. Late bloomer, that goatie's really done favours for you now, Tom. Really done.
And I will be 27 years old in a week today.
1 week. Yeah, you're creeping up to 30, mate. Creeping up. All right. Well, I know we could sit and chat forever. There's one thing I want to make sure we cover is the future of Radical Bikes right now. What I know some people might have seen, you are rebuilding the dirt jumps. You've had a whole revamp. What insight can you give us? What are you looking to do? Where's it looking to go?
So the dirt jump side of things, that's been taken care of by myself and all of our team. For people that don't know, dirt jumps aren't just, if you've got a big digger, you can just do that and then you've got what you've got. Like, it is an absolute labour of love. If you ever see some really nice, steep side, beautiful looking dirt jumps, someone loves those jumps like you love a family member. Like, they take more than any Chelsea flower winning garden, if you want dirt jumps, you've got some full commitment to keep them and to stop them from crumbling. You can't ride them if they're too wet. They don't work well if they're too dry. You need to have them in the shade. They need to be cut with water. A huge amount. Whereas with bike trials, put an obstacle there. As long as it doesn't move or fall over, give it a lick of paint, and that'll do you a year and stuff like that. So for the dirt side of things, we've got our plan from that. We've gone from having 5 rows of jumps that work okay, and we're going to have 3 rows of jumps that are going to be absolutely perfect. So we've sacrificed some room where the log section was. The log section at Rad got used, but not as much as some of the other things. So as I said earlier, we now know a lot more from what gets ridden a lot, like especially with the birth for street trials that sort of Danny Mac thrust onto the scene, which a lot of people ride the BMX style fire bikes. We're going to do a lot of that. We're about to take inventory of everything. So we have basically taken everything out of the trials section and we've got it in a big pot. We have a massive stack of pipes, a massive stack of tyres, beams, logs, concrete containers. So what the plan is, I've kind of got one section that I've always wanted to build. It's like a street plaza. So I'm going to find a flat bit of field down the edge, normally where we put like the Radfest speed trial and bits and bobs like that. And I want a long run of ledges and banks and rail gaps and like something, and try and find some benches to reinforce. So it would be, when you go out on a street ride, you're going to find a wall at bar height. You're going to maybe find a flat bank or a flat gap and do that. Then that'll be sort of my main focus. And then whatever I've got left of all the big pile of bits, I'm going to sort of divide it in 3 and go, right, so I'm going to build 3 more sections. I'd like to build a section that is obviously trials bike riders will ride whatever you give them. If we just throw it in a pile and paint it, they'll love it. But we want to try and plan more than what we've planned before, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, we've had 10 years of gathering data and seeing what people are doing and how, I guess now was that time to do the whole revamp. I've got to say, it was extremely scary to see an empty field after, that many years of riding and seeing bits like that. It was quite sad. But I know you guys are working really hard towards some of that. What about, I was just thinking, so I know you mentioned like designs. How do you, I know some people, if you've got any ideas, can we send them to you? Could we give you any, just to kind of help you guys out? How can all the listeners here help maybe you guys from where they are?
Yeah, definitely send through designs. I mean, if you're going to send designs like Steve Rogers does, where mine needs to draw a more accurate picture, then just keep them in your scrapbook. So that's what I mean.
Right, don't write it on a napkin, so it doesn't make sense.
We do love Steve, and there's a reason that he has his job, and there's a reason we have a trials park and Steve doesn't. Judged on the drawings that he has given us, I never knock anyone. If anyone wants to put forward ideas, that's brilliant. I think what's going to happen is when we come into the spring and people are coming out of the woodworking to ride, what we've sort of spoken about is we would like to put forward like a Facebook competition and say, right, if I gave you 5 pipes, 5 beams, 5 sleepers, 5 tanks, 5 rocks, what would you build? Draw me a picture. And then what we'll do is we'll keep that to one side, and then we'll pick a winner. The winner can pick a colour scheme, and we'll build their section for them. And maybe if we could do a Radfest, maybe 2021, 22, we'll then say, right, say for example, Tom Hutley wins. Well, I can go, this is the Hutley section, and it will be there for Radfest, and people can.
I think that's
maybe
awesome.
We put the design and vote on it, because we all have creative blocks, and there's going to be certain things that you as a rider would choose over things that I would. If I was to build Radical Bikes myself, it would be a BMX street hybrid, and nothing would be above 6 foot tall, because that's what I like to ride. But there's no me building it for me, because it's for everyone.
And I like big.
You like the big things,
You get
don't
to
you?
see everyone's back muscles contracting well.
You quite like Andre and Damon,
I
don't
was just
you?
about to say, what was your favourite rider? Is that what you said? No, something like that. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no, that's I can live with that. Guys, I know that we could talk all day. I actually have another interview with the god and goddess of radical bikes. You know, that really started it.
The king and queen.
Oh no, you're the king and the queen, but they're the god and goddess. You know, because a prince and princess just doesn't have the same ring to it. Now that you know, Meghan Markle and all that sort of damaged the princess name. I don't know if you can use that. But guys, amazing to chat with you all. Good to hear that there's lots in the pipeline and lots to come with Radical Bikes. Those who don't know anything about Tom and Molly, you can find out more on Instagram, Molly at Radical Bikes or Molly.radicalbikes.
Yeah,
Tom
like that.
.radical bikes. Just type in Radical Bikes.
Just type Radical Bikes, get us and the dogs.
Yeah, and of course, you don't want to miss out on those beautiful hounds that you have there. And of course, you can catch up on all like Radical Bikes videos, all the Radfest videos. It's been going on for 10 years. If you're listening to this and you still don't know what Radical Bikes is or who Radfest are, where the hell have you been? Please go and make sure you search it, find out what it is. If they have any questions on Radical Bikes, they can reach out to the page, can't they, and find out and just send you a message.
The current questions aren't, are you open? Because no, we are most definitely not.
There's nothing to ride there, guys, in case you didn't know. I have been there, and it is an empty field.
It's an empty field. I don't actually know if we're verging on closer to swamp than field now.
Had lots of rain.
It's a bog. So
wow. So we've got some time for the ground to dry up, till you guys can get back to work in there.
For sure.
We are quite a distance away from bringing machinery in, unfortunately, but we have this every year. Wait it out, and see what we get to.
Yeah. Well, on the behalf of the entire biking community, not that I speak for everyone, thank you so much for being you guys. The scene wouldn't be where it is without the Mitchell family, I might add. So thanks so much. Really great to catch up with you guys again. I should hopefully see you very soon. Yeah, I mean, this isn't the end of the show, actually. The guys listening, I'm just going to go and move on to the God and Goddess. It's an extra special feature-length show. So, guys, thanks again. And I will see you very, very soon. I love you lots. Ciao for now. You